Shalom, shalom. My name is Yeshiah Yisrael of the tribe of Dan of the nation of Israel. Giving honor and respect to the Most High, the creator and the maker of heaven and earth. I call this one here, paying respect to my teachers, part 2. My history among the Israelites from the 1980s into the 1990s. All right? For those who may know, I started in a congregation called Kol She'erit B'nai Yisrael. The place is located in New York in the Bronx. That's where I started off at as a child. What I'm going to do is list my teachers and the places where he or she might have been teaching and the influence that he or she had in my particular life. My first teacher on a human level among the Israelites was Mora Yosef ben Ephraim. What I've learned essentially from that particular man was about honesty, patience, humility, and respect. The reason why I state that is because I was under his tutelage as his student, between the ages of 2 all the way until the age of 10. So in that particular case, in those particular years, I've did good things, did bad things, did silly things, and so forth and so on. So with all of that being the case, that's why I state I learned about the aspect of respect as well, brothers and sisters, as honesty. His assistant was a person by the name of Adon Yishai. He didn't have as much influence upon me, but what I did gain from him is the aspect of knowing patience, not trying to be so fast and everything, knowing when to say no, knowing when to make a move, those kind of things. So I'm stating all of that to state that even as a child, I picked up on certain things from my elders. All right. After that situation in Kol She'erit, with me being in there, went to a place called Beni Adat Kol Beit Yisrael, located in Brooklyn. And the leader there at the time, may he rest in peace, was a man named Rabbi Yeshurun. What I can say essentially that I gleaned or gained from that particular man was the aspect of acceptance, not being so quick, brothers and sisters, to decline something, to reject something. You understand? You'll be surprised, brothers and sisters, how much a child can pick up upon from watching and seeing his or her elders. All right? Another great person that I met while at Beni Adat that time was a man, may he rest in peace, named Moreh Hosea ben Cohen Levi ben Yisrael. He was the first one to show me really what ancient Hebrew looked like, and he was the first one who actually stated a Hebrew prayer. I never heard a whole Hebrew prayer stated until I met the elder Moreh Hosea. So he's also the one who gave me a book about American law. There's a book called Black's Law Dictionary. And so from that, I began to read a little bit more and getting more into my reading and getting more into my reading. He told me about a bookstore called Strands located in off 14th Street in Manhattan. So he actually gave me books. So that's why I appreciate the kind of person that he was and the influence that he made within my life. When I was in Hashaba, I met a particular elder who had an impact upon my life in the aspect of humility. I learned a lot of humility from the elder, may he rest in peace, named Kohen Malchiel. For those that was in Hashaba, you know who I'm speaking of in that particular regard. The next great teacher in my life in the house of Israel was a man May he rest in peace, by the name of Simeon. Simeon is where I learned a great deal of history from. Great deal of history from. From Egyptian history to Assyrian history to Babylonian history to history of the Israelites, history of the people in Africa, history of the people in the Americas. You know, he was a well-rounded historian, you know, and that's what I gleaned and gathered from that particular elder there, as well as understanding stratagems and order and rank and file, if you will. You understand? I got that essentially from being around that particular man right there. Another great person in my life, as far as Israel was concerned, is a Hebrew teacher by the name of Moreh Tibak. And he essentially taught me how to teach Hebrew. And I say this in no disrespect, I didn't learn a lot of Hebrew from him, but I learned on how to teach the language. That is to say, to have dedication. That is to say, to be diligent. That is to say, to be caring. And that is to say, to be attentive. I learned more aspects of how to teach the language from him than I learned from him about the language itself. And so that's why I rank him as one of my teachers in the house of Israel. Another person in my life that I met while at Beni Hadad, may he rest in peace, concerning my teachers list that I'm giving homage to them now, is Adon Aharon ben Zebulon ben Yisrael. As stated before, he was the person who gave me the courage. I remember one particular lesson. I was saying, I don't know how to read this, and this is difficult. And all he said was sound it out, just like you did in English. What is this letter here? Well, that's a Zade. What's that vowel? That's a Kirik. So if you see that that makes the Z sound, then what is the next letter? Okay, that's a pay, you know, and the next letter is a hey. Okay, so you read Zapa. So you already get an understanding of how that particular thing went down. So he gave me the motivation and the courage to even want to learn Hebrew. And so that's why I rank him as one of my teachers in the house of Yisrael. Another person not known to many, but is great in his own right, may he rest in peace, was a man named Adon Doreshiel ben Asher ben Yisrael. He came out of Kosherit and was also in Beni Hadad. And for those who may know, I'm an author. I wrote books, but this is not about the books I wrote. But he was an author as well. He helped put together a magazine called Hebrew Magazine. He helped put flyers together. He helped put brochures together. You understand? He was that kind of person that was good with those kind of things. And I thank the Most High for having me sit under that particular elder, so that way I can gain understanding to be motivated to even write, to put literature out, because that's the kind of stuff that he did. The greatest person I met while I was in Hashaba, needless to say, was the leader of the place by the name of Cohen Levy. And what I learned from him, and this is going to get a little deep, is the aspect of knowing how to treat people, the aspect of knowing how to talk to people, the aspect of knowing how to show humility toward people. You know, I state that I messed up as a young man with the situation with my daughter's mother. Whereas if I had taken that man's advice, pardon me, it probably would have not gone as sour or as bad as it did. Because one day he had told me, treat her right, you know, treat her with respect and so forth and so on. But being younger and not taking heed to what the man stated, it wound up severing the ties between me and the relationship I have, that is to say, had with my child's mom. You know, so that's something that I got to walk with. You understand? So once it comes down to that, a female in my life who made a great impact upon me in Israel, may she rest in peace, is Imam Matina Bat Yisrael. And I saw her later on in life, my life as well as hers. You understand? In a place called Kalutse. One of the things that she expounded to me when I was 18, when I started teaching as a moray, she told me to try to dig into everything to glean as much as can be gleaned out. So that is to say, do your reference checks, go to your encyclopedias, look up words, go into the dictionaries, do these kind of things to try to see exactly how much can be gleaned out. And so now when I became an author, I gave respect on a human level to Imam Matina because going into, in layman terms, the nitty gritty with certain things, I got that by taking her advice. You understand? So those are the people that I mentioned that are my teachers who have passed away that I pay homage and respect to on a human level. Mora Yosef, Don Yishai, Rabbi Yeshurun, More Hosea, Kohen Malkiel, T. Simeon, More Tibak, Adon Aharon Ben Zebulun, Adon Deratio, Cohen Levy, and Imam Matina. Those people will always have a certain place in my life as far as who are my teachers. Those are the ones who have now transitioned or who have deceased. May the Most High rest their souls in peace. The next list of people that I'm going to mention are they who are still among us, who have made an impact in my life and still currently make an impact in my life. A man by the name of Nasi Kamul. Now, I've met him. My earliest memory of him is back when I was 6, 7 years old. His earliest memory of me goes back to when I was a baby. He said he remembered when my mother first brought me into the understanding of Israel. I don't remember that, obviously, but he stated that he did. He helped my family when my mother passed away, as far as, the services and so forth and so on. So he was a great impact in my life. A lot of people who consider me and call me a moray, I owe it on a human level in part to the elder to me, Nasi Kamul, because he was the person who on the sidelines taught me how to teach. Know when to just say, okay, I'm going to save that portion for later. I'm going to save that for later. This is not the time right now. Know how to introduce a particular subject, that may be controversial. I owe that to Nasi Kamul. Another teacher in my life who's still among us is More Mishael. I learned from him when I had relationship problems on the side on how to handle it, on how to deal with it. You know, that's something that I spoke to him about, that not taking nothing away from holiness that has nothing to do with the Shabbat. I called him on a so-called Sunday, or Yom Rishon, and complained, if you may say, as a young man to my elder about relationship situations. And he gave me some very good and sound advice concerning that kind of subject. You understand? He promoted schooling, being educated, going to college, getting a degree, and so forth and so on. These kind of things I credit on a human level to More Mishael, as well as someone else, as we're going to get into later on. And of course, More Mishael, for those who know, master Hebrew teacher. Another teacher in my life I give credit to is More Yehotzedek Ben Gad Ben Yisrael. He was the one that the Most High used to bring my family in law when we were out in Brooklyn. When I say bring in law, what I mean as far as bringing into the understanding that we are to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and that we are the true house of Israel, was a man named Moreh Hosadek. He actually, not to get too personal, knew my grandmother, my mother's mother. So that's how far back it goes. And in turn, he knew my mom, and in turn, I was introduced to the man. He was a very groundworking kind of person as far as the language goes, Hebrew goes. You understand? When I wanted to talk to him about certain things, and it's no disrespect intended, didn't want nobody else to understand. From like the age of 15, I remember just going back and forth with him in Hebrew. Not that I was talking against anybody around us, but it was just maybe a personal matter. And he never made me feel, okay, you're the young stump, You know, you're the little kid, get out my face. He never, you know, made me feel a way in that particular regard. So that's the influence and the respect that I show to that particular man right there. Another person, not on the particular age level, but somewhere within 10, 15 years of my life, I'm gonna just say it like that, or should I say 5 to 15 years of my life, is a brother whom I've come to respect more over the years by the name of Adon More Tavel Ben Kohen Mikael. This is a person speaking candidly when I had, in layman terms, beef, when I had drama with people in the street, if you will, not that I'm a gangster, no way, shape, form, or fashion, and nothing like that. When I had problems with dudes in the school, it was that brother who actually came up and regulated. You understand? It was that brother who actually came up and was like, you're not going to mess with my friend right here. You see this guy right here with those strings on his shirt? Don't bother him. I give respect to my particular brother by the name of, now known as More Tavel, concerning that particular subject matter. And of course, he's good in Hebrew as well. You understand? And so when him and I converse, like I stated in the past, when I do Hebrew lessons, I get them to him to see his take on it, you know, and he also being a Hebrew teacher never made me feel like, is he trying to take my shine? I never got that impression from him, you know, so I give him much respect once it comes down to that. Another person that I rank as far as my teachers whom I give respect for in the house of Israel is a person older than me, but not an elder, by the name now as Kohen Shekmiah ben Kohen Lewi ben Yisrael. This is a person that when I remember being in high school, you know, and he would see me on the street in his car, he would stop and be like, hey, Emiel, you know, my old Hebrew name, you know, do you want to ride home? And I'll be like, of course, you know. Then I would try to do things like get off on the sidewalk so that way people can see me getting out of a nice car, you know, little show off things like that, being silly, you know, as a teenager. But the point I'm saying is what I've gleaned and gained from him is perseverance, is respect. That's what I gleaned and gained from the brother now called and known as Cohen Shekmiah. You understand? Because the kind of things that we spoke about, he being older than me, I being younger than him, is straight man to man talk. You know, sometimes no filter, as the saying goes. And that's something I can sit there and respect. You know? Another person I respect who is my elder is the elder known as Chief of Chiefs, Naphtali ben Yisrael. This is a person I've known since the age of 14, going on 15 years old. Nothing but respect for this particular man. His wife was a friend of my mother. May my mother rest in peace. When we had a family situation, what did I do? Call the elder. Take the counsel from the elder. You understand? And that's something that I can always say that I gleaned and gained advice from Chief of Chief Naphtali. When I had a problem with a job I was in, I remember him distinctly saying, don't burn the bridge. I'm like, yeah, these people, they bothering me. I'm not feeling them. I'm not liking them. They don't like me. You got to think of the bigger picture. You understand? Don't burn the bridge. That's what he said that made me not quit a job ahead of time. Eventually, you know, I wound up not working there, you know, but that's something that I respect that man for, the understanding of timing and place, order. You understand? So I respect Chief of Chief Naphtali once it comes to that. Another great man in my life, may the Most High continue his life, is Kohen Mikael ben Yisrael. Now I speak about him quite often because of the impact that he had upon me. You understand? In my life, he is my Hebrew teacher, hands down. Hands down. There were other teachers and people who influenced me in Hebrew, and it's not to rank this person didn't do this or did do that. I'm just speaking about the good of everything that I can say about my particular elders. You understand? And with Kohen Mikael, he is the one who, when he seen me try to do a Hebrew class when I was 14, he watched me as I was trying to help another brother with the alphabet, you know, and he was saying, like Tom Sheik. He being my teacher, seeing me doing that was like good. He runs an organization called Levitical Communications, in which he promotes his teachings and so forth. And I suggest people to go on YouTube and subscribe to the channel Levitical Communications. I remember him having cassette tapes with teachings on it. You understand? About different subjects. He knew I loved history. And of course, I wound up getting the tape teaching that he did on the book of Daniel, which encompasses a lot of history. You understand? I love and respect that man greatly in the house of Israel. We had in my immediate family, me and my sister, as well as my mom, may my mom rest in peace. We had a cousin that we called her aunt out of respect. It was my grandfather's biological cousin. Because of the age, we called her aunt. You understand? Before she passed, he gave me sound advice concerning how to deal with such a matter, if such a matter is going to come up at any given time, you know. And so that's something that I, always would cherish, the Hebrew and the advice. Another elder whom I hold much respect for is a person by the name of Zaquin Yekesquel or Don Yekesquel Ben Lewi. Now, this is a person that I would speak to on Monday nights on the phone, Tuesday nights on the phone, on Shabbat. When I would ask my mother a history question when I was a member of the Camp Kalutse, my mother would be like, I don't know this. I don't know about history like that. So I remember saying, Ima, I'm going to ask Zaquin Yekesquel about this, that, and the third, And I remember when I called myself becoming a rapper, which didn't work out, it was the elder Zaquin Yekesquel that said, if one thing doesn't work, try another, because you're going to find wherever your talent is and what you can shine in. I will never forget that. You understand? So, lastly, concerning the elders that I give homage and respect to is Ima Naami Batlewi. She was a person who knew my family when we first came in the understanding of being Israel. She'd been in the knowledge of Israel prior, obviously, before my family knew of this way of life. And she is a woman of respect, integrity, honor, and she actually helped me edit the book that I wrote. She gave me advice about health. She gave me encouragement about teaching Hebrew. She gave me advice on how to sit there and deal with matters of the heart. When my mother passed away, it was the lady, Ima Naami, that in her own way took over the scene. With me and my sister in mourning, she took over the scene as far as who was going to be doing the cooking, where the cooking was going to be done at, who was going to do what. She orchestrated all of that. These are things that people don't forget when you do good things for them. Why did I go over that with Nasi Kamu, More Mishael, More Yehotzedek, Adon Tavel, More Tavel, Kohen Shekmiah, Chief of Chief Naphtali, Kohen Mikael, Zaken Yekesquel, and Ima Naami. May the Most High bless all their lives and continue to strengthen them on this earth. Why did I do that? Listing those 20 people there is to show, even at the age of 38, being in this way of life since I was a baby, what influence one can have, what honor one is due in the house of Israel. Everybody has their particular favorites. Everybody has their particular teachers whom they love. So be it. Giving due respect to the Most High, Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. Thus concludes this particular presentation. Shalom.